All right, guys, welcome back to our video series on how to manufacture supplements properly. So today I want to talk to you guys about this autofill station that we have here. So once we've created our mixture, the next step is to transport it and get it bottled. Okay, the auto filling station here is one of a couple types. You have what's called a gain in weight or a loss in weight. One of them measures product being put down into the container, and the other one is measuring a loss from the total hopper. Either way, both of them are trying to maintain the optimal weight distribution into each container. So this one's pretty neat, pretty straightforward here. Supplements go into the top, whatever your powder mixture is. I have a viewing window here so that I can make sure that everything is happening properly on the inside. You have your control panel on the front here where we can tear out the load cells, which means zero them out, make sure that they are calibrated, and then we can input our desired volume to be placed into the hopper below. There's a little foot pedal here or a button on the front there. And so basically what happens is once we engage this, it will release the powder down into a holding chamber so that it is ready to distribute 300 grams into each container, or 500 grams, whatever our total load is, which would be serving size times number of servings, right? We had a 10 gram serving, and we were doing 30 servings of that. Now we have a 300 gram serving size. So we could put that in right here, press the button, it would load the chamber below. Then we press the foot pedal to release the flapper at the bottom, and that will fill each individual container. And we just continue to do that until this overall hopper has been depleted or our total batch. So you want to make sure that when we are creating a batch size, that the batch size is large enough for a potential loss from one machine to another, because you will never be able to get every single gram out. So you are going to have some kind of overage that needs to be calculated in beforehand. So if you have dealt with any contract manufacturer and you're putting an order in for, let's say, 500 units, there's no guarantee that you are going to get 500 units. Okay, a good manufacturer will be able to process your order with a batch size that has an overage amount in it that is not excessive, but also does not leave you short. So for a smaller brand, if your goal is to have 500, 1,000 units, 250 units, you could end up with 240 or 260 units. Whatever that batch actually makes due to process loss, right, or overall overage, that, maybe their container does enough volume that for your mixture and your overall dosing for the number of containers that you're doing, they can round up and fill that container with more or less how much is needed for your product. And then you may get 5 over, 10 over, or maybe you get 10 less. So when we're filling this, the other thing that we have to do is that there has to be spot checks after this. We cannot just take this machine's word for it that, hey, we put 300 grams in there. So there has to be a step, a witnessed step after this that maintains variable weight throughout the process. So what that means is that it may not be exactly 300 grams, but you take X number of samples and then they have to be at least within a certain margin of error. And we will cover that further as we dive into the specification. So yes, every container may not be 300 grams. There may be one that has 298 grams. There's a certain variance that's allowed there, and we can cover that. A good manufacturer will ensure that there is enough in there that really you're getting maybe 303, 305 grams to ensure that the customer is not being shorted. That's the basis of this machine. You could understand that if you had to do this by hand and you were scooping it out and then you weighed it and you have to take it off and scoop it out, you weigh it and you, oh, maybe I got to scoop some more out. It could become very tedious to get that amount of product out accurately if you're making 500, even more. So you'll see these in a big manufacturing environment where there's actually a drum or an auger that will be stationed over this, still mixing and then feeding continuously, and this being on a conveyor belt where they're cranking out, you know, tens of hundreds of these. Is our autofill station. We're going to utilize this pretty early on in the manufacturing process. Seeing as we're just creating creatine right now, we will not be utilizing the drum mixer. Process the creatine through this filling station, maintain the proper weights going out, and then finish the bottling process. All right, guys, thanks for coming to the episode on the autofill station in our video series of how to manufacture supplements properly with James from Impel Nutrition. Thank you, guys. Please go to the website if you want to support this, pick up some supplements. We're going to keep trying to bring this information, and eventually we will have a creatine that you've been able to see from the early stages all the way through and know that you were a part of this one product. So appreciate you guys. Please share.